Sup chat, how's everything? I was stuck on the toilet for a little bit. Gonna bring you guys over to the abode itself. We might move on to doing some gaming in a moment, but this is primarily a just chatting stream. Oh, though I do need to fix some things because I didn't have time to... Yep, there we go. Making sure all my settings are good. Let's lower this a little bit. Hey, a random question. What's my favorite video game? I mean, it's fine. That's the name of the game. Random questions. Video games. Let me pull this off to the side so that it's easier to see. Yeah, my favorite video game. That would probably be Kingdom Hearts 2, I'm gonna be honest. Mostly because of a nostalgia factor. It's like I've played that game since I was like barely cognizant of my own existence. I have memories of, so I lived in a pretty poor household, but we managed to get ourselves a PlayStation 2. But the thing is the PlayStation 2 didn't come with like memory cards. But we did have Kingdom Hearts 2. So we had Kingdom Hearts 2, a PlayStation 2, and no memory card. So me and my siblings, what we would do is we'd essentially try and race through the Roxas section and try to get through as much as like we could before we had to essentially reset our save. And we were usually pretty limited to like a 2-hour play session. Like my dumb kid brain barely knew that there was another character other than Roxas you could play as. But then as time went on, we eventually did get memory cards, and then I eventually did beat the game. Though I had such a hard time on Demyx. Demyx is my eternal enemy, because every time I play the game, and I get to... Every time I play through the game, Demyx causes a problem in one way or another. Until I have learned the trick to actually fighting him, I was sort of brute forcing it all the time. Until I think the second time I did his data fight. Like I was bashing my head against that for a while. I've spent I remember in like early high school spending like all night trying to beat him. The data fight at the very least. It's funny because like Sephiroth is very hard, but Sephiroth doesn't like frustrate me like Demyx does. Which is funny because in terms of writing, I think Demyx is one of my favorite Organization 13 members. In terms of actually fighting him, he fucking sucks. To people who play the game, you know exactly why. Dance Water Dance just sort of sucks to deal with, especially if you don't know how it works. Like, 10-year-old me didn't necessarily intuit the fact that fire damage instantly destroys them, which I mean would have kind of made sense. He's a water themed character. It makes sense to use fire, but I thought, oh, ice freezes water. Well, ice basically instant staggers them. I can just hit them with ice and then use the reaction command. But no, the easier thing to do is to reaction command, and then as they all sort of pull toward, like, are gravitated towards a point, you cast fire to kill them all quickly. It's, now, in fairness, I think some of it is not the game's fault. They do give you, pretty early game, they give you a small chance to interact, with the mechanic, in a low-stakes environment, because he does, like, the dance water dance shit, but it's only, like, what, 20, 30 clones? Like 20 or 30 water clones? Or whatever? It's a small amount of water clones with a fairly generous time. But yeah. That's the long and short of it. That KH2. I do like the remix better. I do like the remaster a little better, but that's because they didn't really remove anything, they just added things. They didn't even really change the core gameplay all that much. The only thing you're gonna be missing from the I forgot I put this on the playlist. But yeah, the only thing. Sorry, that completely took me off my train of thought. Whoops. But yeah, that is oh yeah, the only thing you would be missing out of the thing you'd be missing when playing the original verse, like when playing the remix over playing the original, is that there is a sort of crutch you can use when fighting Sephiroth that didn't exist before, and that is limit form, because limit form is the only form that doesn't require party members, and Sephiroth is a fight without party members, Sephiroth being like the ultimate fight of before Remix added way more. Sephiroth was basically like, you have no dry forms, no summons, just fight him like raw. But in the remix, because you are now given limit form, you're able to limit. You're allowed to use a dry form in the middle of that fight, because it doesn't require Donald or Goofy to be in the party. And you could just pop that whenever, and entering limit form, or like, well, entering any dry form gives you a full HP and MP reset, which sounds overpowered, but basically it's just like, depending on the difficulty you're playing at. Like, depending on the difficulty you're playing at, it's not too much additional wiggle room, but if you can play around with it, it's very, it's still pretty... It's a good advantage to gain, because you could pop limit form and then quick revert to basically just get an HP and MP restock that you wouldn't normally be able to do. Or you could just use limits, and limits tend to give you iframes, which, you know, significantly makes the fight significantly easier. That said, they then introduced a lot of fights that are now like scaled up because of the data fights. So they basically added like what 14 additional super bosses that are now scaled to the fact that you now have more tools. It's like, oh, okay, you now have you now have a bunch of added things to deal with. Like, there's more challenges beyond set. Like, oh, if you want that challenge, you could just now go to these other guys, like the data fights, or Lingering Will. Lingering Will is kind of bullshit if you're playing on critical mode, because he does not care about anything you do. He will one tap you. He's possible to beat. Many people have beat him, and many people have cheesed him. But, you know, wanting to do a good college try, maybe not for the casual. Though, if you're at that, if you're fighting Lingering Will, you were probably not doing casual shit to begin with. I mean, I could go all day on that game. That said, I could probably talk an earful about other games, because like we can go down games by category, because like obviously there was the nostalgia factor of KH2. I mean, what games in my library? I'm trying to think like what if I could sort them by categories, because obviously that would take the ARPG slot. I'm not too much of a shooter person. Oh, a game I've been playing, both on and off stream a lot is, Baldur's Gate 3. I've been having a lot of fun, getting back into that game. And I've basically made it back to Act 3 with my OC Acta. Which I could probably pull up an image of her that isn't just smut I drew. Let me weirdest game in my library. Okay. Ooh, you wanna ask weird? I'm trying to think, cause I do have I have a couple of things on there. I'm trying to look through the games and like which ones would be weird. Oh, I do think The Alliance Alive is a game designed by a bug person. There's also Garfield Kart, which, like, you know, this is natural. It's natural to have Garfield Kart. Like we could go into several different categories of weird. If designed by bug person, The Alliance Alive. Imagine if your entire progression, like your entire method of progression, is just RNG, and I don't mean like, well, it's a turn-based RPG. It's always It's always RNG, but I'm talking like, you don't have level ups, your stats will just randomly decide to increase. It isn't like, do something X amount of times and you get the progression. It is entirely just random. It's just after a fight, randomly, you might have a chance of getting a stat increase. It is very weird. That game is definitely designed by a bug person. That said, weird freaky would probably be Psychopomp. It is a good psychological horror, in the fact that, like, I think, you know, depending on my current level of stress that day, it could actually, like, yeah, I could be unnerved by some of the things in there. And it's entirely because it isn't, like, just big overt monster ooga booga type shit. It's just, like, weird. Pizza Tower's also weird, but Pizza Tower's like, because it's Wario brand weird in the fact that it's like, you could probably just show this to someone and they'll be fine with it. Garfield Kart is a social experiment. I'm just gonna say that. Some of its design is also done by a bug person. Its hitboxes are done by bug people. I guess it's less design and more that the hitboxes are designed by bug people. Da, da, da. And I have some choice words about original Divinity, like there's a Divinity Original Sin 2. That's not, that one's just like some analytical problems with it. It probably has a good story, but I didn't get that far, because fuck do I hate the gameplay. And it's entirely because the armor system... The armor system has a very glaring flaw with it that I think is, like, very much ruins the enjoyment of the game. It's like, oh, it's gonna be a tough game, but it's also like, you're playing Minesweeper sometimes, but it's fine. That one's not even weird in the conventional sense. I just have problems with it gameplay-wise. But I think that's more or less it. Oh yeah, Atlas. Which people like, but also, let's be honest, the slime lady that fires slimes out of her titties while moaning, that one was a little odd addition. I'm gonna be real. It's funny too, because it isn't like there are many enemies in the game that are like that. That's just the exception for whatever reason, you know? And look, as a slime lady who likes to mess with their titties, You know, you don't need that to be a core element in your boss fight. Sometimes you could just, I don't know, shoot a laser. Well, I say mainstream. It's an indie game, but it's doing pretty well for itself. Its character customization is very cute. It's a very cute game. Just, you know, when getting into it, be wary that one of the quests early on is that there's this slime, slime, like, Deva lady with, like, a wand and shit, and she will just fire slimes out of her tits while moaning. Look, I don't judge it on principle because, like, you know, mood, but also... But yeah, so... that's a pretty weird addition. Let's be honest. Otherwise, the game is very, very normal. It's an otherwise perfectly normal game. It's just that one enemy, for whatever reason, that they just put in the game is such like a... It makes you immediately, like, because it happened so early in the game, you immediately go up as like, what type of game am I playing? Like, what game am I playing? Like you immediately think to yourself, like, did I download a porn game? Mind you, not that it would stop me from streaming it, but I feel like I'd need some financial incentive to go onto that sort of streaming service. I would need compensation. Not that I would be inherently opposed to doing that sort of stream. I just think I would, you know, I would need it made worth my time. Nope. Can't even imagine me stream stuff like that. I could probably, I mean, like, I draw and, like, engage with, like, NSFW stuff all the time. Like I am literally a porn artist. I draw safe for work art as well. Like, I draw a little bit of A, a little bit of B. I'm a very mixed bag. You will, if you ever engage with my Blue Sky and you have, like, it set to be able to see sensitive content like that, you're gonna see I'm very down the middle. I'm very, like, so, like, I'm both, you know, I dip my fingers in both worlds. It's just that, like, if I was ever to do something like, you know, a step beyond just drawing things like that, I feel like I would, you know, I need to be making money off of it. Like, I'd be fine with, like, I'd be fine doing it, but again, that's a sign to anyone in the audience who's freaky in that way. Me just slowly slides the Ko-Fi link. You know, I ran out of coffee filters, but this coffee turned out pretty well. I just had like 2 napkins, and I just like sort of shoved them into the coffee machine. I was like, this will work. And it did. It turned out fine. We're on that struggler mindset. It is kind of funny because I was or more of a coffee or tea person. I am very much a coffee person, but oh, I don't know if I can play that song. Let me move switch playlist. I'm definitely more of a coffee person, but I do like tea on occasion. It depends on the mood. Like I'll be more of a tea person during summertime, and more of a coffee person during wintertime. For obviously like iced tea and warm coffee type, uh, like related reasons. I have like 4 boxes of tea that like I'm slowly going through. Um, but in terms of like coffee, it's also like I drink like Death Wish. I have a very like I'm very drug resistant, so as a result, if I want to get anything out of caffeine, I basically need to go like all in. Um, so I drink shit like Death Wish. Like the amount of caffeine running in my system will probably kill the average person. I'm gonna be real. You need uh here let's you know what? We play Dova Syndrome a lot. Let's put on some Kevin MacLeod. Let's. There we go. There's the perfect vibes. Like the pure coffee, not that fix it. I mean, I can take decaf because a lot of the pleasure I get out of coffee is purely as a confectionery. But if I want the kick, I need Death Wish because like I'm a very drug resistant person. If I'm drinking it for caffeine, I want Death Wish. If I'm drinking it for anything else, then anything will do. Uh, Honestly, a major thing is I tend to get more of a kick out of sugar. Um, I tend to get more of a kick out of the sugar than the caffeine itself. And as a byproduct, the I like very sweet drinks. Probably equally bad for me, but either way. Because at least with the caffeine, I have the defense that is, um, my immune system filters stuff out really well. Sugar, it's like, oh no, it's absorbing that, it's eating that. That's there to stay in my body. Like that's it's like the sugar's there to stay. But yeah, in terms of like caffeine or even alcohol, because you know I drink for occasion, I need to basically like take the equivalent of 5 shots. to start getting anywhere. It's like I'm a very drug resistant person. Which is nice because I'm not necessarily, like, it's fine because I'm not necessarily a like too heavy of a substance user. Not too much. I've been drinking more tequila lately, but that's sort of been because I've been having these like I've been sort of overcome by stress at times, and I was just like, you know what? I need to like stop overthinking. So I've been having tequila a little bit more as my stress rises. But other than that, I think like any outside factor, I think I'm pretty sparing with how I drink. Like there's still some like there's wine that I drank like half a bottle of and then just haven't touched in like months. Like like it's been like half a year. I'm like, yeah, that's probably bad by now. um nope, that's not. Hey, I caught you, you bitch. You dingus. You absolute buffoon. I haven't animated the some of the emotes yet, but don't you worry, I'm working on it. Uh what's another track I can play? Hello. Lower expectations here. Your glorified DJ for the evening. Um there we go. But yeah, I'm very well, I was pretty straight edged for for quite a while. I've only recently started picking up tequila more, but even then, like I'm not like a have a drink every day. I want to like space that shit out. It's basically like I limit myself to more or less just like if I'm having any, no more than like twice a week, or not, sorry, no more than once a week. But like I won't have like if I drink during one day of the week, I'm not gonna be drinking the next day of the week. Unless you, the audience at home, give me a reason to do a drunk stream. What people don't understand is that you could pull my ass in any direction. Show woman at heart. You can pull my ass in any direction. It's like, what? You want thigh pics? All right, make it worth my time. So like that's a key word. Make it worth my time. I will do whatever the fuck. I will get my face flattened live on air in a boxing ring if I need to. And I will try to make physical comedy of it. People always go up and say, "Oh man, wrestling's fake," but have they considered soccer's fake? I respect a wrestler more than a soccer player any day of the week. Dude, wrestlers actually need to, like, take an impact. Soccer players often fake taking one to get other people in trouble. And it's like, oh, that's just a stereotype. Dude, when I was in soccer, there's another person on, like, there's another person that just kept doing that. And so then I actually punched them in the face. I was not necessarily... Look, I've gotten better since then. I am a significantly better person than I was. Significantly better. But you know, at the time, I was definitely under the mindset, in my defense, of like, well, if I'm getting in trouble anyways, I might as well make it real. And so I did. In my defense, if I'm getting in trouble for quote-unquote hitting someone, I might as well actually have done the crime. Which is not a great defense. But mind you, I at least got my money's worth in terms of time of punishment paid versus crime done. It's a balance. I was not a good kid. It's fine though. I was not the best person. That said, what is this song? Is it? Okay, we can't. I think we can use this one. Alright. I think we can use the Plants vs. Zombies soundtrack. That's fine. Man, okay, so speaking of Kingdom Hearts, one thing that I do think is absolutely atrocious with the PC port. So they have sound settings. They have sound settings in the game. And Kingdom Hearts will, like, Square Enix and Disney will get on your ass for, if you, like, listen to their music on stream. So it's like, okay, well, they have sound settings, just mute the music and put something else over it. But here's the thing. Here's the fucked up thing. They don't allow you to mute the music entirely. The minimum you can put the volume to is 1%. And the music will flare up and spike often enough to the point where if you're streaming, like me, it will, unless I go to the volume mixer itself and turn the entire game down, as well, just like force make it lower, the natural volume at 1% is high enough that even if you're talking, it might try to drown you out and give you a DMCA like strike, which sucks. And so the only way to deal with this is you have to play your background music that you like, the royalty free background music, louder than the game music, but the game music will flare sometimes to the point where it drowns out your background music if you want it at reasonable audio levels. So in order to stream Kingdom Hearts 2 without Nomura blowing off my legs, I had to install a mod that replaced all the Kingdom Hearts music from any non-pre-rendered cutscenes with Sonic the Hedgehog music. Because if there's one thing that I have learned in this world, is that Sega is actually my friend. Sonic the Hedgehog won't do me dirty. Also, very good timing on that soundtrack. If no one's got my ass, Sonic the fucking Hedgehog does, okay? God, I could not have planned that better. That fucking tirade. Like, I'm looking at you, Nomura. I'm looking at you, Nintendo. Trying to blow my legs off when playing your game on stream in a totally normal fashion. Okay, maybe Nintendo is a little less egregious, but like, Disney wants to kill you. In other news, hey chat, I did find that that ACTA picture. Oh my god, it's not sized properly. Let me. There you go. I'm playing as. Shit. Let me just. Fuck. Look, don't look at me. I'm. There we go. I would need to fit it on the board behind me. There we go. There we go. There's ACTA. Also, there's Snap. I made Snapper Guardian in my Baldur's Gate run, because I don't know... Well, I do know why, but I do love putting them next to each other. And, you know, I'll keep it on screen. Why not? One thing with, like, ACTA and Snap is I like drawing them next to each other all the time, because one is like 8 feet tall and one's a goblin, and they're both stupid, but in like the same way. Like they're both like kind of like idiots. Well, I mean, they're idiots in different ways. But you know, it's the singular brain cell, but they're both like very different sizes, so I think it's very cute to put them next to each other, because it's like you have this big giant lady and her little buddy. It's not even like a I ship them thing, I just think it's neat. Just the Marge Simpson, just, I think it's neat. Alright. Toby Fox. He won't destroy my legs. Every time the song switches, I have to check to make sure that, like, I'm not gonna get curse-splitterated. But yes. I like drawing these two together. Not even as a couple. That said... Hello chat, I will draw anything if you make it worth my while. Okay, almost anything. There are some ethical limitations that, you know, I do have an ethical framework that does prevent certain things from being drawn. But, you know, I'm pretty sure they're reasonable, unless you're an unreasonable person. On where my lines are. Basically, what I'm saying is, commissions are open, and you can't... you can't ask me to draw them hooking up. Or if you're an artist, draw it yourself. I don't mind. I'm look. It one is food for the stomach, one is food for the soul. I take what I can get. I'm a shrewd businesswoman. Are my charms working? uh Also, I forgot to remove the no spoilers place tag, so, you know. If there's any psychics in chat, you've been warned. Motherfucker's gonna come in here like, did you know you're about to die in 3 days? I'm like, banned spoilers. Not even for a death threat. Banned for spoiler. If I'm dead in 3 days because of that shit, I will be so fucking mad. Oh. Okay. That one, I don't know we can use. Yeah, I don't know if we can use that song. So we won't use that song. Do-do-do. Okay, maybe not the song I wanted to go with. This sounds like boss music. I'm gonna turn behind me and get absolutely obliterated by something. It's like, oh my god, is that Starscream like in my house? All right, what's also not the right tone. We're just going through Kevin MacLeod music at this point. There we go. I associate this music with Over the Hedge. Ah, man. Thinking of video games and Over the Hedge, have any of you guys played the Over the Hedge GameCube game? I remember having played that when I was younger. And I remember that it had like a Shrek trailer in it. I don't remember too much about the game, but I know it was co-op, and it's like you grab your weapons, and it's like a big deal when you got your hands on like I mean like a toy gun in that game. Where it's like, hell yeah. Uh, I don't, man, I don't know if that game was good or if I was like too young and stupid to know it was bad. I just remember enjoying the Over the Hedge GameCube game when I was young. I need to reconnect with my past. Uh, Maybe not all of it, but the Over the Hedge GameCube game. You can make a pilgrimage to BRE software, even though live nowhere near there anymore. It's like, yes, let's move 500 miles to take a pilgrimage to a store that I'm pretty sure is closed. I'm pretty sure the store is closed. Like, it does not exist anymore. I mean, I could look it up. Fuck it. Oh my god, is it still up? Is it still open? When was it last open? Okay, yellow pages. I'm trying to figure out where uh we could probably listen to Minecraft music. It's probably fine. That probably fine. All right. I think that store still exists. Maybe. Okay, the last. Okay, it might be. I think it's closed. I don't know if it still exists. I need to make that pilgrimage. I wouldn't know. I just wouldn't know. I I need to actually take a trip all the way over to Fresno to check lost media because I simply because I don't want to click on any links. I'm lazy like that. What'd I even do if it did still exist? Like, so yeah, I'd like to buy a used DS. That store was always nice though. I remember it being like a big deal whenever I got to take a trip there and like used uh I'd save up a lot of money. Like I do a lot of like work during the summer to like mowing lawns and shit to eventually uh to eventually get enough money to let brain do the brain thing. Um Eventually buy a Nintendo DS. It wasn't even like the DS Lite or what was the model? Okay, so there was a DS, there was the Nintendo DS, and then there was the which was like big and clunky, but it still worked. But then there was a more like a thin model that everyone like remembers as the DS. Like I saved up for the clunky piece of shit that like no one remembers having. Um, I didn't get like the sleek models. Uh, and it was neat. I played a lot of games on that. A lot of my childhood was just playing games on a DS. I was a big Pokemon head before a dog literally ate 5 years of Pokemon progress. So a thing I would do is I'd basically trade between get like I'd basically move up generations in Pokemon, slowly trading all the Pokemon uh from from one set to another. So like I would go from like gold and silver, go from like heart gold to silver, grab like diamond and pearl, uh Pokemon Black and White, Pokemon Black and White 2, like just slowly shifting up the like generations of Pokemon. Uh and so I was the only thing that stopped me from continuing to be a big Pokemon head is I took the game out of my DS for once in the longest time, and I put it in my little case, put it in my little game case, set it aside. My game case smelled like me, and a dog chewed through the corner of it, which happened to perfectly contain that game. That game was my Pokemon game with all of my Pokemon in it was the only game out of the game case that got consumed by the dog when it ate my little game case. And little kid me was like in such like such shock and like distress. I was like, I'm not petting that dog for a week. What the fuck, man? I lost 5 years of progress. 5 years, and I was like 14 at the time. That was like a third of my life of Pokemon progress just gone. And so then it's like, oh yeah, the 3DS games came out. I was like, I'm not touching those. I'm just like you know when like the wind just gets taken out of your sails because you're like you were like you're on a like a rhythm and then it's like oh you gotta do everything over again. It's like damn. Yeah. So that's why I don't play modern Pokemon. Not because I think they're like inherently bad or anything. I haven't played them. It's just I don't play them because a dog ate my copy of like Pokemon. I think White 2, Pokemon White 2. Um, a dog ate a copy of that had all the Pokemon that I was shuffling through the generations as time went on, and I was like, damn, I have to start from square one. I had a shiny Lugia, man. I was the only remnants, the things that remain of those Pokemon is a copy of the data that was put into I think Pokemon Battle Revolution for the Nintendo Wii because they had this thing where you could basically so there was preset like Pokemon that you could use for it, but if you had a DS game, you could use the DS to copy save data from one of your Pokemon games into the Wii, and the Wii will like basically copy your PC boxes in the game, and you would be able to use those Pokemon instead of the ones that the game decided to preset for you. And the music stopped. Why is the music stop? Um, oh yeah, because it was gonna play a thing I couldn't play. Let's. But yeah. The thing with that like the Pokemon Battle Revolution is that because like it copied the PC box and then you would be able to use the Pokemon from your DS game instead of the ones that the game already like has as like the presets like oh your Pro Tag uses these. Um so yeah, my only The only thing that remains of those Pokemon is on a probably dead Nintendo Wii. It was not like my Wii too. It was just someone's Wii. They just happened to have Pokemon Battle Revolution and no other games. I was like, oh shit, they have a thing. It's like, screw it. I'll copy shit from Pokemon Heart Gold onto it. Fuck it. And I did that. And I know my older brother was also there. Um, cause this was like a different like family suite basically. And we did actually have like a standoff, but they kept hugging one of my beloved. Um, I had a set of Pokemon that was obviously like this is the team I go with. Like I didn't play competitively or anything. Um, but I definitely played with so like I didn't play competitively, but I did play with a lot of brain, do the brain thing. But I had favorites. I had favorites. And one of those favorites was an Eevee I named Timothy. I'm going to be real with you. My brother was like, I like Timothy, and just kept taking like quick selecting Timothy. I'm like, God damn it, I want to have Timothy on my team. Fuck, man, you keep stealing Timothy. This was a side rant. This is kind of an interesting thing because I am literally just talking Pokemon to myself. Very interesting, cause very interesting to have a very one-sided conversation. But it's fine. I can yap all day. That's the point of the stream. Point of the stream is the yap. Wait, what? Okay, that's fine. That's fine music. I'm assuming Undertale music is always fine. Even if it's not Toby Fox, I imagine fan-made works tend to be pretty good about that as well. Assuming, unless they went to the patent office and they're already putting the bolter to the back of my head.
Greetings.
Ah, hello. I was just on a massive side thing about. Oh, it seems like you didn't. There we go. You spawned in. Uh, I was just shooting the shit. For the most part, I was talking about why I don't play modern Pokemon, and it has nothing to do with modern Pokemon. It's just a dog ate my game, and I lost like 5 years of progress. I was like, damn. Like,
Very fair.
yeah, like you know when like a save file corrupts, and you're like, well, that just took the wind out of my fucking sail.
Yeah. Oh god, I understand that way too well.
Yeah, no, it's like that, but it's if it's like um yeah, I was trading games between like gens, so like we're going like Gen 1 all the way up until like Pokemon Black and White number 2. So like we're right before the 3DS games. And I took I took my copy of Pokemon White 2 out of the case. Like well out of my DS and just put it into a game case. Cuz I just wanted to play a different game for like a day or two. You know, like nothing too special. However, a dog by the name of Echo lovely girl. However, I'm still bitter about this maneuver. Echo, the pit bull, decided to eat a corner of my game case, and the only game that was in that corner was the Pokemon game, which I traded all the Pokemon from earlier gens to. So that had like 5 years of progress, and I'm like, I'm dying. I was very young, but also very distraught, and that left a lasting impact. I have not played any of the modern Pokemon games.
Very fair.
Anyways, what's up on your end?
Um, Nothing much. Had a pretty good day with the partner, and then now we're just home and they're asleep. So I am doing Christmas shopping.
Oh. I am on. I'm on depressed brokey hours in which I'm like, you know what? I need to I need to sleep better. Absorbs tequila.
Absorb.
Absorb. I do think in terms of art, I've been doing pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not in popularity, but at least in quality. You know, we take what we can get. Um,
You've been absolutely killing it in terms of the art stuff.
yeah. Like my last few pictures, I think like the last four or so, I'm like, yeah, this fucks.
Hell yeah.
Let me raise the music just a little bit.
This is kind of hilarious. So I'm searching for gifts for my partner, and they enjoy like Junji Ito art, right?
Ah,
Um, and so I'm looking at that stuff on like Amazon, and one of the things on it is a shark blanket hoodie, like a shark, like onesie.
I would
I'm
wear
just like,
that
that's
shit.
not,
It's
that is
it's
not
very.
Junji Ito art, but it's also very on brand for the types of people who like Junji Ito art.
I do think it is very funny. My brother got me like this. Like my older brother, not Niall. Um, I think it was either them or that like got this like dog hoodie, and they're like, you see, the trick is they would wear it, and they were absolutely correct. I'm like, Pog. I wore that shit. I'm like,
Hell yeah.
that's when I was identifying mask, identifying like as a dude. I was just like, no, I actually think this is like, it's like actually, you know what? I don't have a problem being dressed up in cutesy shit. And then
It's always a plus.
and then I transitioned, and that became less of a thing of contention. So, whatever. It just lowers the amount of people who have a problem with my style. Now people just have a problem with my existence. But like, I don't know. If you've ever lived in a redneck area, you get it already.
Yeah. An unfortunate truth.
It's like, depending on the environment, you're kind of used to that sort of like, oh, well, I guess it's just me against, well, not the world, but definitely a lot of people in any position of power over you. Man, when I was working at the like at the hospital, um, there was like a manager that is just like, hey, why don't you want to like talk to me more? I'm like, I am inherently distrustful of any authority figures. I had that shit like beaten into me. like, you could be cool, but that does not matter. I don't fuck with you like that. I'm gonna be real. I am inherently distrustful of you by virtue of you being an authority figure. Which is like, you know.
We distrust her though here, which is valid.
Well, it's also because like where I grew up, like you basically had like, oh, the bullies' parents were always like administrative staff at like the school.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, people, so like, oh, kid does shitty thing, me, strong sense of justice type shit, would go in to interject, and then I get in trouble. I always was the one to get in trouble because I didn't, I didn't have nepotism on my side.
Nepo babies. They are a threat to society.
True. We here at the Super Mario fan club pray for Luigi. Topical.
Really right to us there.
I am very. I can make a joke or two, or three, or five that ride that edge.
Oh.
No, you don't get it. I am principled, but I also was a Twitter user, meaning I'll only talk about changes and not do anything.
Well, this is true. Abandon Twitter while you can.
Also true. Also, I don't know if this song is royalty free, so I'm going to switch it. And while I did make a big tangent about how Sonic always has my ass in terms of music, I'm going to avoid Find Your Flame for casual conversation. I think that makes sense. You know what? Let's find Pizza Tower OST. Whatever. That might also not be good for casual, but man, that might be really bad for choice of music. Whatever. We'll find something. Hey, bear with me, chat. We're gonna find a something. Nope, that's a Squenic song that will get my kneecaps blown out from under me. Fuck it, we've been holding off on the Dova Syndrome playlist. Let's lower that. Alright. Hello, chat. We're back from picking music.
The return.
The return. The dramatic return. With a vengeance. Oh, in terms of, man, I'm gonna have one of those, like, damn you live like this sort of, moments where somebody just walks in and is like, what the fuck you mean you made coffee today with, like, 2 napkins you had instead of a filter? Look, we're good with improvisation. As long as you get the fundamentals of how a thing works, you can, in fact, have the thing work.
It's wild. I've been one of the things that it's been a minute since I've seen it. Fairy Tale. Me and my partner have been watching Fairy Tale for a while now. Haven't watched it since high school. Fucking.
How well has it aged?
I'm gonna be honest, it aged better than I thought.
I mean, it is shown in, like... I remember Fairy Tale at the very least starting good. Or at least good enough to have my interest. Like
The thing is that like even later down the line, I feel like it probably wasn't as bad as we gave it, as we shit on it for.
it was definitely not SAO, but it was repetition. That was it. I don't think it was inherently bad. I think it was just repetitive.
Very fair. They kind of just keep hitting you with the same message repeatedly.
It's a loop. It's a loop. It's definitely like they could have cut this show in half and you still would have probably been just as content. Like you still would have gotten everything you got out of it than you would watching through it normally. It's like they could do some trimming. Other than that, I mean, it's like again, I don't really remember it as like too much of a problem.
Oh yeah, no. Out of everything, it was like completely fine as a show.
It was an SAO, which hurt me.
I the one of my favorite things with Fairy Tail has just been the fact that like its pace is a lot slower than I remember, which is a good thing in the sense that like there are way too many shows that I like go back to, and I'm just like, holy crap, the pacing is like way too fast, or it's way too slow. And it worked whenever I was younger because I had ADHD and I was a baby or some shit. It's just like, oh god.
Jingling keys.
The one of the most fortunate, one of the best experiences you can have going back and watching shit you enjoyed is it being as good as you remember.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my god, whenever I went back to Full Metal Alchemist, I was so happy it was actually good.
Yeah, no. Again, like Greg was like, hey, any anime recommendations? I'm like, Full Metal Alchemist, because it is no like exaggeration when I say Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is a masterpiece of a show. Like, it is inarguable that it is a masterpiece.
It really is just the best.
It's like you can like other shows more, but this is like good. This is like on a technical level. This is like one of the best out there on like just a writing, and like a writing and world building standpoint.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't think that many other shows, just in general, ever like hit that mark.
Yeah, it's a very
Um,
hard thing to replicate because of how much thought was put into the show. Like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, like a lot of the plot is its world building and it's the mysteries around how the mechanics of the world works. It's very good. It's very good writing that not many shows replicate, um, because of just how well it's done. Also, like how they do fights.
oh yeah,
Like, yeah, you have shit like, oh, this person is like super dangerous, they're too tough for you type shit. It like every show has that, but the reasoning of, oh, they're super powerful, you can't like fuck with them shit is normally like, oh, there's like a mechanical thing you need to work around. You know, like the homunculus regenerating.
yeah. And when it comes to like just shows like that in general, like are very rare. Like I don't think we're gonna get another Arcane for a minute.
Oh, certainly not.
Um,
Um,
I miss the days where like I feel like a lot of like too much media, whether it be video games, shows, movies, or whatnot, just kind of. I mean, like, I guess it's the norm that a lot of them are just like okay or like bad, and then you just get like the bangers. Because I feel like too much, I feel like everybody looks back with way too much nostalgia at like older shows, movies or video games, and like assumes they're good. Like I fucking Skyrim's the biggest example. Where like for fucking years people pretended like Skyrim was like the pinnacle of gaming and whatnot, and I'm like, sure, like at that time it did something, I guess, but like even then, like there were other games that came out when Skyrim came out that were just objectively better.
I am happy to say that Kingdom Hearts 2 still holds up.
The series, however,
I
the,
still think
my
the
my
series is fine. I do think that 3 kind of fumbles in a few places, but I also think, like, a lot of the vitriol in, like, critical mindset is the fact that we waited, like, a decade for it.
yeah, the longer I think another thing is like the wait times between games, like shows, movies, like just stuff like that is just like a lot longer, which means that like any hype with them starts to kind of die out for a bit. Like that happened to a degree with Arcane, where like Arcane's second season kind of came so much later than its first season, because what its first season came out when.
Look, I am so glad I was not an Arcane fan when Arcane first came out, in that
2021.
I am so glad I did not watch season 1 when it first came out, and I watched season 1 a week before season 2 came out, because the shit they end you on season 1 is fucking criminal.
It was so bad. Like I would say like the thing is that like when people talk about like banger shows, right?
We call those porn flicks. Sorry.
Not what I like when people talk about like actual like great like shows and whatnot. Um like I think like Avatar the Last Airbender, Full Metal Alchemist and whatnot were like they were both like kind of peak of their like of what they were. And Full Metal Alchemist at least has the bonus, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood specifically, at least has the bonus of like it didn't have a sequel series, so
Yeah.
that means like it's not really gonna have the like same effect that a lot of other sequel series have because controversial statement. Legend of Korra was not that bad, and all of you fuckers who hate it are just hating ass bitches. Um,
I
yes,
I
I
do
get it. It
I
is a
do
tired.
think it is very funny because sorry, sorry to interrupt on a tangent. Like, I basically like I lived on a mountain for basically 8 years, so like I was
Yeah,
sort of in a sort of like black box like time capsule, and so when I finally got out of there and I started perceiving new media, I perceived Boruto and Legend of Korra at the same time and mentally connected the two, even though they were made like years apart from each other. Is like because I engaged with like both at the same time. I was like, oh, I looked at Boruto, looked how shit Boruto was. I was like, Korra isn't gonna be like that for Avatar, right? Like,
like the thing is just like whenever it comes to Korra and whatnot, like I think too many people like have a lot of nostalgia when it comes to like pretty like lovable characters and whatnot. And yes, I get it's a tired trope that the heroes that we grow up with or see like turn out to be shitty parents or something. We've seen it 1,000 times. People don't really like it. I get it. But in the case of Korra, it kind of makes sense that Aang sucks as a father. Like he was a monk. He grew up with nobody in his culture anymore, so he's the only one who's trying to keep it alive. So imagine his
what the
surprise when like only one of his child ends up being a airbender. He's gonna spend a lot of time with that kid.
sorry, unrelated. An FNF, a Garfield FNF thing randomly went into autoplay, even though I distinctly remember clicking a Dova Syndrome playlist. That should last us several hours. What the fuck? Okay, let's.
Very funny.
That is very funny, but also, like. There we go. Adequately
Lovely.
done.
Um, yeah. The long and short of it is just like don't. Whenever a show does like its whole like yes we return to the cast of old and they ended up being like not great parents or like they had some flaw or whatever to maybe look a little harder at it than just like oh you hate it because they made your like hero as a kid like more complicated because it's really not that bad. Aang it made sense and it's not like they said he was an asshole, he was just not all that present. And also another side note, no parents fucking perfect.
Cheers to that.
Like we spend so much time like talking about how like oh parents aren't perfect or like parents should try better and whatnot. Then when we see example of that in a show, everybody like cries and it's just like, no wait, you're telling me my favorite like uh fictional character didn't end up being a like perfect parent? It's just like yeah no they weren't gonna end up being that. Like they don't really exist. Every parent traumatizes their kid at least once by accident.
Look, I'm just saying, um, I'm not showing my girlfriend to my mother because I don't trust her to be normal.
And that's fair.
uh,
It's the same reason why my partner will not. I will never meet my partner's father because he will not be normal.
yeah, we'll yeah, totally not normal. It is kind of funny, but me and my partner have a very like similar thing of like, yeah, we probably shouldn't meet each other's mom. It's like
We can simply decide the parents not involved.
my dad, on the other hand, super cool. Maybe not the most responsible person, but is a well-adjusted person.
We do love a well-adjusted person.
Uh, that said, back on TV show related shit. Did you ever fuck with the like Inuyasha sequel show?
I never watched Inuyasha to start with.
I looked at the sequel show. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like I didn't. Here's the thing: is I didn't even go through like with watching it. I was just like, why did this get a sequel? It's like
That's fair. And I mean, like, a lot of it just ends up being
that's
we
a
want to make a sequel.
like
Um,
I think sequels can be fine, but I feel like there needs to be like a point. Uh, a lot of times. I don't know. It's just like a what are we getting with from this new adventure we didn't get from the old one? Like, are we just getting more of the same? Because like if the first adventure told the story pretty well, then why like it's like, oh, the
yeah,
descendants will do the same thing. They're all characters, but you mix and match the traits of previous protagonists. I'm like, sure. I mean, it's kind of the reason why like I didn't fuck with Boruto. I'm like,
no, that's fair. Boruto is like the most obvious and egregious example of that, where it actively is just bad
yeah, it's not
for
like
what it tries to pull off.
yeah, it's like what exactly are we like? I mean, I guess you have a different type of story. Like, I do. I mean, not even that. Like, I'm a pull out a fucking hot take. I don't necessarily think like Naruto was all that like good.
Naruto was in fact not great.
Cause they had a very core message that they like eventually abandoned. Um, the whole thing with Naruto being like, hey, it doesn't matter where you come from, you could still be cool. Like you could still like put in the effort and like do your best. Like you have that like nice little message, and then because like you have all these characters with like, oh, I have this bloodline that gives me this powers. I'm from this family and shit like that, and it's like and Naruto is just like, oh, the pointed choice of like, oh, he has like not many people that like give a shit about him. It's like, but he still like does hero shit in the end when he's like uh like in spite of all that, I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good message. Like that's a pretty good like beat, and then it's just like, oh yeah, his dad was like Hokage. Like, oh,
Yeah, he has some.
it's just like, oh, it
Some
doesn't
shit.
matter.
I notice. I think a lot of anime ends up doing that, where like they have a like pretty solid message, and then they end up ruining it because they want their character to feel more special.
Yeah, it's just like, well, that
I'm
was
like, there's
kind of
nothing wrong with wanting your character to feel more special. It just kind of sucks whenever you like sacrifice everything else you built up about it.
yeah. I think that's kind of like the crux of it. It's like that's kind of like my biggest issue with Naruto as a series is just like you have this like pretty nice message like that like at the end of the day you could go like, yeah, they did that fairly well, and then they eventually just like, actually, screw all that. um
Yeah,
it's like if it it's like if Goku, without like any mention from the show, just started like shooting up steroids. you know?
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, is the like, oh, what's the like um it's like, oh, what's the message of Dragon Ball? It's like, oh, it's, well, kind of about self-improvement, or at least, if you're viewing it from the lens of Goku, like he's very much about self-improvement to the point where like so here's the thing, I actually am not I actually like I actually don't have a problem with Battle of Gods in like Super Saiyan God, um like that transformation, because they address in the like show, because like, oh, they're like a recurring thing in Dragon Ball, there are no shortcuts, um and it's like, oh, Goku got this power by like, getting in a circle with like five other Saiyans, and
Yeah.
gets a power up by just like, oh, they just share energy with each other. Voila, here's your like Super Saiyan God shit, and it's like, okay, and you might go like, okay, well that kind of goes against the message, but I like the fact that Goku himself is uncomfortable with that aspect of the transformation. I like
Oh
the
yeah.
fact that they actually show him being like uncomfortable with the fact that like he just felt like he didn't earn it. I actually really like that. Even if they address it very slightly, I do like the fact that he is just somewhat bothered by it. Um,
Yeah, and that's kind of like a core Goku thing. It's just like I don't like the fact that I was basically just handed this,
yeah,
and that's a good thing. Um,
yeah, which is why giving it to him, I think, made for a little bit better of a story than if they're like, hot take. I know Gohan would have been a great choice, but like, if it's like Gohan, or even depending on how you see things, Vegeta, I, you know, prefer Gohan more, but that's just personal bias. Um, but it's like, I this is actually a situation in which them choosing Goku to get the fancy new transformation was actually a pretty good call. Um, because Gohan would have absolutely no issues with just being handed a power up. I
yeah,
mean,
it's kind
like,
of literally what happened with his ultimate form.
yeah, like he like Ultimate Gohan, uh, and then like from there, it's just like, oh, I mean, I do think Beast is kind of silly.
Beast is very silly.
It is
Um,
very silly. It's just like, damn, you could just bust that out at any time. It's it's so funny because it's like the type of snap. Oh no, it felt less of a dramatic moment than most rage induced transformations. Like,
yeah, like if they had at least done a little better of a job of acknowledging that Gohan literally feels like he's powerless here, then maybe. But like they didn't.
yeah, it's like very
And just like
silly.
Beast probably would have been fine. I would have been fine with it if like they had at least what if it looked better? I'm sorry, but I don't like it. It looks horrible.
It does look like a it does look like what 10-year-old me thought Super Saiyan 5 would look like. You know what I mean? Like, the here's your
Yeah.
sketchbook drawing, here's Super Saiyan 5, which every kid that is like, oh, Super Saiyan 5, where do you go from Super Saiyan 4? It's like, oh, white hair, like silver. It's like every kid and their grandmother. It's like, Like it does kind of look like oh, we just took Super Saiyan 2, the most iconic transformation, and we made it like silvered up with the red eyes. It is kind of silly. Um especially with how big it makes his hair. It's
Yeah, like,
very funny.
look, I don't have any problems with like a lot of like, because at least like with Super Saiyan 3, whenever it makes the hair longer, it like it flows down. It at least feels like flowy. The problem is with Beast, it's just like it's like he gelled it.
Yeah, the thing with Beast is they wanted the Super Saiyan 2 look, and you know, on Gohan, like when Gohan was a kid fighting Cell, you know, head to body ratio a little different, so you know it's like hair poofs up. It kind of looked a little big on him. Okay, that's reasonable. Um,
They just made it like too big.
but now that he's like an adult and they're trying to go for the same thing, it's like, oh no, it kind of looks funny.
Very funny.
It uh do also Piccolo absolutely has no problems with being handed power ups. Not that he would have been
Oh yeah.
eligible for Super Saiyan God, but I do think it's funny that like the message would definitely not be the same.
Piccolo is literally like, I have a job to do, and it's protect the fucking like
P-
protect the earth and
Piccolo is a
make so that the entire
pragmatist.
sun, like, his main goal outside of like helping protect Earth is helping protect the Sun family.
Like he is. Look, we like Piccolo, but also like he does not at all go in line with the same character themes as Goku. Cause,
Yeah,
cause Piccolo be grabbing free boosts left and right. Nail, Kami, like get a
we absolutely adore
little boost from Shenron that may or
it.
may not have given him a penis. That big dick energy.
I added something else.
I had I added something a little extra. Oh damn.
Sick, dude.
Sick, dude. Yeah, Shenron just adding random ass features to Piccolo for no reason. It's like, what the fuck you mean? I just sort of, I make my own water now. I have, I have blinker lights on me. What the fuck? It's like, look, you already do the clothes beam shit. I just added a few more weird magic shit. It's like, oh damn, okay. That
uh,
that that said, the superhero movie, very cute. Opinions about
yeah,
Beast aside, very cute movie.
it's a very solid movie, and like honestly, I would like give it like I would give it a lot more credit than I normally do if I just like every time I watch it, I don't just see the fact that it's basically just a repeat of the Cell Saga.
I mean, they literally just got Cell but big.
And you know they had the two android plot, and the guy who
And
was
and
but like it just felt like a whole repeat of that entire plot line.
yeah, it it is very much like, but it's been there, done that. But it did have a lot of cute moments that I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I always hear a bunch of people talk about like, what's better between the Broly movie and superhero, and for me, it is literally not much of a competition. Like or not. I wouldn't say it's not a competition for me. It's just, I think I go against the grain where I say it's I think Broly's better.
That's fine.
Mainly because it adds something to the fucking story.
I'm okay with that assessment, especially because it had a very interesting sort of like core issue, which is the fact that they're fighting someone who is not in control of themselves, and but the person that's not in control of themselves is dangerous, and like so it's like they are fighting an innocent man, but that innocent man is very powerful. Also, hello, motherfucker. I'm gonna quick draw your ass. Get out of here, bot. Cheap viewers, get out of here. I'm killing you with a rock. I'll do it again.
When in doubt, report the bot.
I'm going to grasp you, but not affectionately. I'm going to squeeze until your eyes pop out, bot.
Bot account. There we go. Get out of here.
Okay, so I'm gonna do something to not beat any puppy girl allegations that may face my way in the future. But when I was man, that's a good start of this segue. Because thinking about bots, when I was real young, I was a very destructive child, and so what my dad would do as a sort of like measure to limit the damage I did, I would have like a sort of like a fairly decent sized toy robot sort of placed in front of me, and because it was a humanoid shape, I could like attack. I would be busy on that, and I'm like, I like later in life went like, oh my god, that was just a chew toy, basically. My dad literally went like, dog's biting the furniture, chew toy.
10 out of 10, solid parent.
Dude, I realize in life a lot of his like surprisingly effective parenting moments was literally him taking shit from like him raising dogs. It's like, what the fuck? Dude, I literally okay, so it's like when I was like rowdy, he would go up and like point at like a point. Is like run there and back. I'm like okay, I'll just run there and back, and if I was still rowdy, like do another lap. I was like I was just having fun running, but I'm like damn, my ass got like hit with fetch as a kid.
Go fetch.
It's literally, man. I will not be beating any puppy girl allegations because like the thing that fucking the thing that sucks is it worked. It worked the entire time. Like it worked every time. My ass got.
Fucking, I adore that. I'm gonna use that. I'm using that.
What the like run there and back shit? What?
Go there and back. It'll be funny.
Go there and back. It'll be fun. Go there and back. It'll be funny. You're clearly too rowdy.
No, if I did that, my partner would beat me with a fucking slipper.
You would get scrungled.
I would get scrungled.
the Bart Simpson, why you little?
Speaking of getting scrungled, the Broly shit. Fucking Like, I know a lot of people like Superhero, and I do too, but also, I'm not gonna say it's, like, better than Broly, because I genuinely don't think it added anything to the story. Like, Broly added a new character, like, it showcased that, like, Goku and Vegeta are actually making progress. Um, like, in their whole thing, progress that they should have already made, mind you, but, um, it at least shows that they're still, they're capable of fusing still when shit gets that bad. They didn't try to boo arc this shit. Um, they were like fully capable of like understanding the situation. On top of the fact that it actually adds new and fun characters. Like new Broly is fun. New like the new characters Chile and Lemon, they're great. The problem I
Lots of
have with
porn made of
Superhero, true. The
True.
problem I have with Superhero is it didn't really like it added new characters. Don't get me wrong. Um, but like most of the new characters did not stick. Like none of the new villains stuck. They all like died in this movie. I'm like pretty sure, um, or became good guys, which is fine. But also one of the new good guys died. Like I'm excited to see what Hedo does, um, in the like future. But I'm
Guru
also just
maxing.
like, but I'm just like, what, what does he actually add to the overall story? What does Gamma 1 add? Because the out of the both the Gammas, the more interesting one died. Um,
He has a nice fin that you can wobble like aluminum foil.
they also added Piccolo's love interest.
Yeah. I like how
like
everyone is just like, yeah, draw them together.
Toyotaro do it. Um, like it's
I'll
just I
do it.
don't know. Like it's not that like superhero added nothing. It's just like as far as like for the main cast, like it was just the usual. We're manipulating Gohan to become strong again because we need him to be strong because he decided that he doesn't care about training anymore or some shit. I'm like, okay, sure, fine, whatever. But also, like, can we stop doing that to Gohan? He fucking obviously doesn't want any part of this. And Piccolo, you literally are, you are the same, like, you're barely older than him. It's not like you're going to be going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think the Namekians age at an accelerated rate. Like, Piccolo, you are the next guardian of Earth after fucking Vegeta and Goku bite the dust. Like, what fucking? How long can Namekians live even? Because like, what? How old was Kami?
Probably at least a few hundred years old or something.
Yeah, like, why? I just look at Piccolo and I'm like, you literally going to be um you're literally going to be alive longer than anybody else. Yeah, Kami was what 461, I think. No, wait. No, that was the year because fucking how old was Kami?
Might be one of the
300 years, over 300 years.
Okay, so the nebulous age range as same as Master Roshi.
Grand Elder Guru had 2 centuries on him.
I think the most dubious thing that is with Dragon Ball Daima is they made Roshi a child. They've unleashed the they
They've
unleashed the
unleashed the
pedophile.
worst. Yeah, like
They unleashed the
menace.
pedophile. Help! Help! A pedophile has been released into Lego City.
It's Roshi killing Goku. Just end him.
I do not trust Roshi with with youth.
No, for real. Like, maybe they'll change him for the better.
Maybe. This was pre-Super though, so he didn't have the like I will no longer be bad towards women arc.
My greatest weakness has been overcome.
I now like men.
It'd be better for the population if men were made to be afraid of Roshi.
Yeah, immediately the like counteracting the right wing shift. Uh with just unleashing Roshi onto the male population.
It just shows them.
Literally like, oh man, actually yeah, this sucks.
Oh, maybe I should stop being horrible. No, like, oh, so you know what? Speaking of Daima, yeah, Daima's fucking great. Um,
From what I've seen of it, true.
like I think it's gonna have like 24 episodes was the assumption. Um, and we're almost halfway through, and like it's just gonna keep getting better. Um,
I like how
Dragon
this has
Ball is
essentially turned into a Dragon Ball podcast. But that's
look,
fine. When we have
look.
hyperfixations, it's fine. Chat, you
It's-
understand. If you don't, I'll make you understand. Come up, come here, come here, come
Let me
here.
grab you.
I can be trusted.
Let me grab. Look, it's like
Just a little nibble.
50% shot whenever whenever I do my whenever I do my little podcasty bits. It's probably just gonna evolve into like Star Wars writing shenanigans. Though I'll go in with like topics beforehand rather than. Well, I mean, I'll probably have free form ones.
I did just wing it this stream. I'm like, this is a Q&A, but also like I'm just vibing.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I had a just a vibe stream where it's like there's no gameplay. I'm just talking. I'm just being a little goober.
I do think people underestimate the power of just talking. Those streams tend to be enjoyable from anybody.
Oh, because you no longer need to react to visual stimulus. You can have it on in the background. Like as a person who does art, I appreciate just talking.
Yes.
That said, depends on what it is. I don't know if my stress levels are at a healthy enough point for certain things to just randomly pop up on my autoplay. It's like, yes. I don't need to be hit with the world is ending, but I gotta get up tomorrow. It's like, man, isn't that like a mood that's gonna resonate with a lot of people? Of the world is ending, but I gotta clock in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Most such a like. I had one of those moments when working at the hospital. I'm like, how do I even explain this to a manager? I'm like, I'm. It's like I'm not doing too hot today, but also like. Gotta lock in, I guess.
Lock the fuck in. Do the work. And speaking of doing the work, I don't think I'm gonna go to that other job I had an interview at today. They told me verbatim that like if you're a minute late, that'll count as a tardy, and I'm like, I don't need that stress. I mean, granted, I'm always like 30 minutes early, but like
The fact that it's like. What if there's a issue with the clock like punch-in machine? What if there's a line on the punch-in machine?
it's not even just that. It's just like they said, like, oh yeah, no, we'll do like a case by case basis for like issues and whatnot. So like if you have like an issue or whatnot, like we might not count that as a tardy. I'm like, that's kind of not my point. I just straight up told him like the point is rather just like you're asking a lot of people who are
My
like actively like kind of in a sticky spot.
the last workplace I was there for had like a 3 minute policy. Like you could be like up to 3 minutes late, which still kind of tight schedule, but like
Yeah, it's at
more
least better.
reasonable.
Like give a 10-minute margin of error. Like a lot of places like to say like, oh, that extra minute, it's just it matters so much. I'm like, even if they got there on time, they still have to spend like a few minutes like before they get onto the floor, even if they were exactly on time.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
because
it's not like they just caught because you gotta drop off your stuff, put your stuff away, then head out.
you also have shit like the manager will sometimes be super late, and you're just sitting there, like waiting, because you don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if there's an announcement or if you have a different special task that day, or like
over here.
I've had managers walk in like 30 minutes late, and it's just like, damn, I got, and then it's like, damn, I got my ass chewed for uh being a few minutes late because a train blocked off my route. Like
Yep.
it's
There,
like
there,
I
there's
don't
just like
control the trains. It's like, oh, but you can go in early. It's like, but
oh
that requires me making way more room around in my schedule than is reasonable sometimes. Like, oh, maybe how about leaving 5 minutes late so that you know, even if a train comes by, you don't have that issue. It's like, okay, but consider the following. I have things on my normal day to day, and I need like a space to sleep.
it's funny. I'm just like I don't want another management job, but to be able to like keep up like the pace whenever it comes to like actually having a like when it comes to my um ability to how do I put it? When it comes to my ability to keep moving up, I just need management positions, especially where I live.
Hmm.
Like it's bad. Like you absolutely need um you absolutely need to just keep moving up, and I don't recommend it for everybody. It sucks, don't do it. I'm only doing this because I love being the funny socialist manager that pisses off management because they didn't realize that's who they hired, because I'm apparently very good at hiding the fact that like I'm good at hiding my power level in that regard. Like once I'm in, it's not as easy as just getting rid of me because I'm ingrained and I do my job. I just don't punish people like they want me to.
Hmm. Um. Hey, for a lot of people there, you probably make clocking into to work significantly nicer. Like when like look, there are definitely managers that you have the like, oh fuck, man, do I need to I had a guy so bad that like I genuinely was contemplating quitting over just what
Yeah,
um
in the 2 weeks.
oh man, not even that sort of fact. Dude, I toughed out my job for 5 years. Like I toughed that shit out for 5 years. I was in the weeds. I was in the weeds of it. Like I I can commit to things. That said, my little my little gambit I'm playing isn't running as well as I'd hope, but like as I'd hoped currently. But yeah, who knows? Um, I'm currently at the like I'm heading. I'm basically watching a make or break situation unfold before my eyes, and God, is it gonna be messy if it.
No, I get you. Like the biggest problem that I kind of um had assumed would probably come of this is just the fact that like the general like just doing like content creation fucking sucks because you really need like a lucky break
I need a
half the
lucky
time.
break, and I'm an unlucky person. Uh, I am not that fortunate. Cause everyone needs their like little strike of lightning. I can't. I don't get those. Um, I am more likely to get the reverse strike of lightnings. That said, I've been doing better during this period than I was prior, simply because like I could do more shit. I could put more effort into things. Um, I'm more well rested. I'm not coming into stream after I clocked in to like work. Or like I'm not going into stream like after being just absolutely drained by my workplace and like being barely conscious. Like I've had some streams starting out where I was falling asleep at the like at the desk. Like kind of sucks. I was doing like a labor job. That shit like exhausts both mind and body, and so like they were sapping me for everything I had.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
which is kind of why me doing this fun little like I'm just gonna take a break for like a few, like give myself a couple months to just heal. Honestly, I if nothing else, I'll have at least rested a little bit. Um, been having that said, certain factors aren't going exactly how I want them to go, but so which means time limits I thought were longer are now suddenly shorter. But hey, that said, hey chat, I have a cof. Me shilling to the absolutely zero people. Uh,
Look, we have a few people.
uh
I tune in every now and then to see what the numbers are. Like it's been fluctuating between like 2 and 3.
hmm. Uh,
There's at least guaranteed one lurker.
one lurker. Um, it is kind of I do want to push commissions. That's a little bit more, but I don't really know how one would do that. I've been doing like here's the thing. It's like I've been doing pretty good with art, but being pretty good at art was enough. You know.
Yeah.
That said, I guess nothing to it but to keep moving forward and try not to die. We make efforts. I'm look. I'm I've basically put it this way. I'm either breaking the ceiling or breaking my neck on it. Yeah, I am clawing. Um, I look. If nothing else, I am a bastion of persistence.
Oh yeah, a lot of more people would have given up in your position.
Dude, I've seen people in better positions give up.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've seen people in better positions, uh, like, spiral way harder, but I'm like, uh, uh you know, everyone, look, it's fine. It's fine to be, like, um, more emotionally susceptible to, like, things going bad. Like, that's fine. That's, like, a normal human thing. I just think, like, man, I am so calcified against shit like that. It's like, does it bother me a little? Yes, obviously. Like you try something for you try something for 5 years with results that some people make in like a day. Like it's like, that would, it's natural to be bothered, but I am persistent if nothing else. Where it's like, no point in, I get, I mean, no point in even being like toxic to like other people too, like cuz like you'll have some people who are like in similar situations to me and get like vitriolic towards other people. And it's like, okay, you could be a little envious, but like, don't be a dick to other people.
Oh yeah.
Like like it's not that like, what is it their fault you're in the situation? No. Um the best you can do is try your best with the circumstances at hand. That said, I do very much feel like, uh I mean, you saw my post with the like, oh, what vibe do you bring to Blue Sky? And I just posted an image from Your Turn to Die where there's like the one of the notes that shows like Sal's percentage and it says 0% because it's like, uh for a little bit of background on what those percentages mean. In the games here, I need to play that at some point on stream. Um, but big spoilers for Your Turn to Die. Um, Wait like 5 or 10 minutes before tuning back in if you have a problem with Your Turn to Die spoilers. But basically, um, there's a character named Sal. He's a dick for a huge chunk of the game, but eventually it's kind of revealed what the first trial of every person who went into the games uh, was, because not everybody had the same trial. Sal did not have a puzzle. He was just in a room and he was shown numbers and told what they meant. He was basically run down what the numbers meant. Um, it's anyone with a name. If I remember correctly, it's been a hot while. It's been a few years since I've engaged with the world and not the world ends with you. Your Turn to Die. Um, the uh, anyone who has their name at all are eligible to be allowed to win. It isn't that not having your name means you have a 0% chance to like go through the games and like beat it. It means that like, the light at the end of the tunnel, if your name isn't on those like on the list, you're not even eligible. Which kind of fucked, because that means there are a few characters that are like, no, you were kind of doomed from the start. Like, even if you won, you didn't win. Um, but for those who do have their names, there's like a percentage number, and the percentage number is to represent the likelihood of them surviving to the end. Like, and the thing is, Sal's first trial is having all this explained, told how they got that information, like how they did that, and how they like ran through these, like, they do like a very accurate psych profile. Like, this is a setting in which they could like basically completely replicate someone's mind with a computer.
Yeah.
And he sees his name, and it just says 0%. Like, in none of the simulations does he make it out, even though he is eligible to be allowed to win. In no in none of the simulations of the game does he win. And he gets hit with this sort of dread. Like, he is just like so he goes up, he takes a different name, he takes a different name, and completely like changes how he his like demeanor and like how he acts with people. Like you actually get an insight that like before the games he was kind of a nice person, like an overall he was an okay guy, like
Yeah.
but he's a complete asshole to most of the cast, and it is and like super manipulative and like kind of an antagonist for a pretty decent portion of the game. But it's literally like a front because he's under the mindset of like, well, if I'm not allowed to win, who like I'm gonna try and be someone who can, like, even like just try his best to make it. Even with being told up front you're going to die, he still makes an attempt to live, even if that meant like he has that like a fire under his ass.
Yeah.
And so I'm like sometimes I'm just like, oh, what vibe do you have with content creation? I just like, Sal from Your Turn to Die, I'm gonna be real. Like, I've been hit with repeated signs that's like, man, I should not be here. But it's like, but I want to be, and I will keep trying. That character,
It's like,
people have a love-hate relationship with that character.
yeah, it's like one of the big reasons why I kind of stepped off of content creation for as long as I have is really just because I don't have like the energy or time to dedicate myself to it. Like, it's why I'm trying to like get myself and my partner into a good spot in life before I do it. Like, stuff I was previously not willing to do, like be a manager of like doing. And I would much rather work in something like a bookstore or a coffee shop, but sadly everybody else has the idea that those are solid jobs to keep, so you don't have to like work as hard, and people will say, oh well, those jobs are stuff hard. Yes, but also like it's not food service and nobody wants to do food service.
I want to work in pretty much any creative field, but I'm stonewalled from every angle. Like, voice acting is so hard to get into. Art, I'm like having issues gaining like any like I'm not any following, but I'm I'm treading water in a lot of places. It's like
I
I
think I think one thing I've learned, and one thing that I would probably say is that there is a better chance, a better effort for like getting good voice acting stuff is to just make your own thing. Like
oh, believe you me, I have done so. Hey chat, there's a new grounds animation. It's not safe for work at all.
more to my point, like do like a big project. Like was something that like takes um something that takes like real time and effort, because like I think the big things that like fuck fuck with like content creation is like effort, consistency, and like just overall time. Like because like if you put in a lot of effort, that takes time, and then so it can fuck with consistency, so it's just like it's a fucking difficult balance.
Yeah, I'm being upfront with you. The Void Walker's the Void Walker comic. That shit's on life support.
It's a solid comic. It's I think it's like I think with a lot of stuff in that regard, it's just what ends up like what can end up killing it to a degree is just like consistency of it. Like if people have to scroll too far to find each part.
Oh, here's the thing: is I clump them up together. Like each time I make it as convenient as possible to read through it. It's just that like you get like maybe a couple people who look at it. You might even get like a courtesy like here or there. It's like
No, I think because like my main thing I've always seen is like people who end up posting stuff like that more consistently get more traction. And that's kind of why I've always just been like, I need to get to a spot where I can be consistent in what I make. And it's difficult to sell. Like if you have other shit going on, it fucks with it. If you have mental health shit going on, it fucks with it. Did fucking Lord knows, like trying like with everything that's about to go down in the next 4 years, it's gonna be difficult. But it's why I'm like, I'm biding at least my time before getting into content creation stuff, because if I like try to jump headlong into it, I don't really want to like at least if I stagnate, I'd rather have a few people than like stagnating with no one, you know? Because where I was at, I was getting like no traction. Um, like I think
the
I got to what
the
28 followers, and I was just like, I'm not getting enough people to my stuff. Um, I wasn't super passionate about like the whole like VTuber thing. I tried for a bit. To be honest, like that one was just like, oh, also a realization that being a VTuber also kind of to a degree limits what you can kind of talk about, because people will go to VTubers for a lot of things, and it will probably not end up being the shit that I end up wanting to talk about, or they won't take you as seriously. And while it PNG don't really get that. Funnily enough, I've noticed like PNG tubers get a lot more leeway than the VTubers, which I guess is fair because VTubers have a lot of stigma against them right now, well earned stigma.
yeah.
They did
Whereas
it to
like
themselves.
with the PNG tuber, it's like oh, it's just an avatar. Like
Yeah,
it's it's treated less like they are the character and more like the little uh, the like the little animation or whatever off to the side is just like oh that's just a nice little quirk on the stream. It's a it's an interesting dynamic to say the least. You also don't get shit like people are not gonna go into chat and go like, "Come on, jiggle them." It's like I'm a stat. This is a static GIF. like,
Yeah.
What's up?
hello.
Howdy. Welcome to the Q&A.
Welcome to
Oh,
the
yeah.
Q&A. That is just turning into a into a lot of things. We were on Dragon Ball, and then we're venting on content creation, which tends to, which that's the thing. There we go. Your player 3 has arrived. Let me.
Yeah, no, me and Greg were playing Sons of the Forest, and then Clover also came in, and we were just talking and all that shit.
There we go. Now I got our player 3 that is superimposed into frame.
Yeah, it's not like I hated doing content creation. I just didn't have the drive for it at the time because a lot of it is like, oh, you need a Twitch and you need a YouTube and you need a Twitter, and I was just like, I have at least 2 of those.
It's very funny because like I have nothing but drive.
I do think a lot of it is like a lot of what I've noticed as well with content creation is you worm your way into like the big people's
I don't
audience.
like that though.
And yeah, and I don't like it either. That's why I was like, that's kind of why I stepped away from it, because I was like, I don't want to like have to worm my way into some
like
big name dudes
yeah, it's fine to rub
to
shoulder
get
like
popular.
like if I vibe with them, like I'm okay talking to them and like like conversing back and forth, but I don't want to like you're like, oh, I don't want that to be the pretense of the like interaction of like, oh, why are you here? Oh, because I want to leech off your following. It's like that seems that no, that's not at all a good way to start like any sort of like, yeah, I know the point. It's like, oh, rub shoulders, and that's how that's how you get things done and how you grow. But like, dude, I don't want to do like if I fuck with you like that, like, yeah, we chat, but really, um I'm not really a big fan of like that aspect of growth where you have to you have to put specific effort into kind of just being a weasel with other people's shit. It's like it's weird. I mean, obviously I engage in like self promo channels of places I do mess around with, but I try to genuinely engage with the places that I do. Honestly, it's kind of funny because I tend to engage more with the other people I don't like you will sometimes have like, oh, there's a big person and I don't even like engage with them. I just like talk with everyone else. Honestly, if you're a corpo, I have an inherent distrust of you. Which is very funny. It is kind of funny because it's one of those things of like look, I understand some of the tendencies of people, but it's like shit I don't want to engage in. Um, but also like there's a category of people like I know why people like you, but also I feel like if I were to interact with you on an interpersonal basis, you're going to be rancid. Uh, don't meet your heroes, shit like that. Unless they're really cool. Sometimes, you you know what? Sometimes they just actually cool like that. So sometimes you're in you're in a very interesting situation. Uh, but yeah, yeah, that's just I guess that's just the long and short of it. It's just like, yeah, a lot of it is rubbing shoulders with people, but I don't want that to be why I start a conversation with someone.
Yeah, it also seems that like the big um the big seller on getting into on like getting big to I noticed groups up here a lot more like in like tend to get a lot bigger in the content space. It's usually just because they're all bouncing each other's audience off of each other, so if one of them gets popular the other ones just benefit and vice versa.
Well, it's also just oh, it's not just that, but it's also like they literally bounce off each other. Like that's just better. It like I noticed that like there are some streamers that are like they are significantly more funny when they're engaging with like other people that would react to them in real time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'm significantly more funny if there is a single commenter in the chat room. That's that is the man the amount my ability to be actually entertaining like increases entirely dependent on whether or not there is someone I know perceiving me and is reacting, because
It
then I
probably
can
doesn't help that sometimes during streams, a lot of us here in the group just kind of idle. Um,
a bit.
like half the time, some of us will just be doing something else or distracted, so we don't really engage with the with it. I'm guilty of this. Thomas is doing it.
Walking over reaching across the table to just shoot him real quick.
And me calling out Thomas for having said nothing. It's not like it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something I noticed where like is sometimes I think the entire group can be guilty of it because like I said, I do it. Like there are just times where I just straight up am like I'm just gonna idle. And
Not me. I'm perfect. I vamp to an unhinged degree when on other people's and other people's streams. I cause problems.
I have the funny thing of, despite having almost zero online presence, at least for like a few years back, actually being not necessarily the start of the show, but a point of like an interesting point in some streams where there's the streamer will specifically clip moments from me doing shit. Like that was way back in my fucking SCP Secret Lab days. God, that I actually kind of want to go back into that if a lot of the servers weren't just ass.
Man, I would do I would do like VR chat streams if my VR headset didn't fucking die to water. I don't have like the money to replace that shit right now. But also there is no guarantee that you will walk into a chat room and they won't just like throw out a slur or like uh play like copyrighted music.
Slur, copyrighted music, or
I would fuck around in voice chats way more if I like could vet shit.
yeah.
I think part of it is just like because I know Twitch is forgiving for people who are out of your control doing it. I know there are more than a few streamers who have it happen on their stream, and Twitch lets it go because again, it's not your fault if like you're playing a public game, and it's like it's kind of like the whole thing. It's not your fault if someone of the public is being belligerent. You shouldn't be punished for the public.
Hmm.
Um,
That said, I
just
do like playing it safe because sometimes they just have robots moderating. Like, there's sometimes robots moderating. Because I also stream on YouTube at the same time. Like, you know, that
yeah,
some.
and I get that. I do think to a degree. I will say that every now and then taking the fucking I'm risking it maneuver. Um, because I will say in regards to just like Twitch and YouTube, they have like strikes where it's just like you get a certain amount. So like if one thing like doesn't go well and you get like stricken on it or something, it's not the end of your channel. You just need to make sure okay that doesn't happen again.
It does affect how likely people are to see you. They do
That is
actually,
true.
which I already have problem. Who knows? Maybe it PEMDOSes. Maybe it's
Maybe this negative turns into a positive.
yeah. Maybe it's oh man. Maybe it PEMDOSes.
I think it's also just for me. I am definitely the like, I'll risk it if it doesn't work out. I'll just work with the debuffs.
I don't know if I could afford debuffs right now. Like that's the thing
Like
is
that-
I. It's like I'm not
Like-
sure that is.
Well, like what I'm saying is like it's not just like I'll work with the debuffs because I can afford it. It's just like I do that even with my fucking current job where I literally can't afford it. I'm just like I've started coming at life with the I don't give a fuck what you do to me. You can't actually make anything worse because I am perpetually optimistic. But that's me. That's my thing. I have perpetual optimism.
I have the I will survive, but it will suck mentality. It is the like I am. Again, I I'm a if nothing else, I am a pillar of persistence. However, that said, if I don't need to persist through something, it's like a good example. Like I have bad nerves. It's like yeah, I could probably take a punch, but why should I? Like, it's one of those things of like if I could not be punched, that is in fact better than getting punched.
True.
It's like oh, but you'll be fine. Yeah, but I would be better if I wasn't punched. Like uh it's yeah, it's a thing. Um
You know, I once and actually bit recently also considered content creation or like streaming or whatnot. But thing is, I can't. Me myself I'm not funny if I'm in a vacuum.
Look, I
What?
think that's the other thing is like for me, when I do like streaming stuff and I do like little podcast bits, I am almost entirely going to be making sure I have people who are present for like I'm going to make it a thing. It is going to be like the D&D slots where it's just like no, y'all fuckers are gathering for this. We're gathering for a meeting.
I'm fine if I'm available or you know, depending on the time, not dead. If I'm not in the ice somewhere, like the thing waiting to be defrosted.
Good thing that thing's over there and we're over here.
Where's the caveman? But yeah, yes, it is kind of funny because I do it's a little funny because like I do think I operate pretty well even solo. I think even solo I can be. It depends on the thing I'm doing. Like if I'm hyper focused, obviously I'll be quiet. I sometimes get like distracted from my train of thought. But I sort of talk to myself pretty often. So even when I'm like in a vacuum by myself, I convey what's going through my mind a lot. Um, and so it's like I feel like I could be like in a vacuum I could be funny, but as with all things, you are better with other people. Like other people makes it funnier. Being able to bounce off people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like for a lot of my stuff, it's just like I do enjoy yapping. I love talking. Talking is my strong suit, I would say. I do enjoy a good talk. Oh, which is why I'm just like I think I'll just do the podcast format type shit because I'm just like it'll be easier for me. I can talk about shit I enjoy and like probably help somebody with like their writing or lead them to a new show or make them suffer an aneurysm. But having Alex explain the entirety of Homestuck to us throughout the entirety of fucking like
I, ugh, eh. You know the audio of just has anyone seen the new like Return of the Pumpkin Rabbit, the that like Walton file thing? You know when like the pumpkin rabbit gets like his face knocked off, he's just like it's like
right.
it's just noises I make in response to like, all right, hey Lore, explain Homestuck.
Hello, Lord. Explain Homestuck.
All of us are here. We already got our pens and paper out. Like, explain that shit.
Explain. Not even starting from the beginning too. It's like, okay, so explain the frog thing. Explain.
Like, for 3 weeks, I tell Alex, compile.
Explain buckets. There was a meme about buckets. Explain the buckets. It's like, I understand the buckets, but the fuck.
Like, I just look you dead in the eyes, and I'm like, look, I had to sift through the entirety of Homestuck in 3 weeks. You had to compile what you know in 3 weeks.
And I just have to sit here.
Yes. I must relive everything I've witnessed.
Once again, I am reaping off the benefits, off the efforts that my friends make.
Bleach.
Fucking freeloader. Start kicking him.
Oh, please, you guys love me. You wouldn't kick me out.
This is America. We hate homeless people.
Damn.
No, that's just look, that's just California.
What do you
Man.
mean that's just California?
Well,
That's
okay.
everywhere.
I do say that, but yeah, Florida's history with Orlando, Florida's history with the Food Not Bombs organization is it's like what
Hilariously hostile. Don't forget Texas.
the DeSantis just like seeing fucking red vision, like the Warwick like blood scent. It's just like a person giving out food to a homeless person, just it's like running at them at Mach 10.
Mame.
It's like, hey, hey dude, you look down at the dumps. I got this like spare Twinkie I got from the gas station. You want it? It's just it's the fucking a senator just coming out there to beat you over the head. The goon brigade, aka cops. Hel hello, chat. Petition to rename cops the Goon Brigade.
I don't want to give them that.
Yeah, that does make them sound like whimsical and not like just fucking terrible.
They
Oh.
yeah, you know what? I'm gonna fucking let's hard turn this conversation.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready. We're cooking.
I don't have a seatbelt on.
Well, well, I mean, signposts are soft, right?
Okay. I'm gonna talk about our favorite game, Baldur's Gate 3. I really hope if they do any more, if they give us more and more updates, can they give Will anything?
No,
Like, please.
no. We already know the answer to that.
Oh, please.
We appreciate.
I don't think they're gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be adding anything else story wise. I think they're just gonna be.
We appreciate our boy Will. We're the Will Appreciation Club.
Go, Will, go.
It's also just because I like look at it. I'm just like this is racist. I'm like I can't help but look at it and just be like it feels racist that he has like fuck all and he was the most interesting character like introduction to begin with.
I will also say the community not too much better. I see you with replacing him with Gortash.
What?
Out of everything, yeah, if you replace him with Gortash, you're a shitty person. I'm not even gonna fucking sugarcoat it. You suck.
I could understand if you replaced like Asterion with Gortash as like a bit. Like,
But Will of all people, like Will doesn't deserve that. He's unironically the most like morally centered person in the entire fucking party. He is in fact the best person, like morally speaking, outside of either your player character or Karlak. As far as morals go, he is at the top.
he is. Okay,
I would say he's our lawful good.
he is the lawful good. I was gonna say he is our paladin. If Minthara didn't take that slot and was the worst fucking person,
Just so funny.
it's so funny that she can get away with all the things she does and keeps her oath. Meanwhile, Acta punches a Moonrise guard and is considered having broken her oath because she assaulted a guard. Even
shit I don't see.
even though by definition, like the people of Moonrise, like the guards at Moonrise, are all like a blight to the land. Objectively speaking, Oath of Ancients, you have to purge that. Like,
The thing is, too, is like, I fucking hate how they treat Will entirely because he is interesting. You can do stuff with the story. It's not like there was nothing to go off of. Like, he is the Blade of Frontiers. He's a famous folk hero known throughout the fucking lands. He stopped a dragon cult army from assaulting Baldur's Gate and nobody knows. That's interesting. You can run with that. There's good stories to be told there. It's just fucking...
I'd also would appreciate it if more of the NPCs acknowledge the fact, like, he's apparently like a folk hero, and like outside of the party, maybe two or three people ever like go, oh shit, it's the guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it also doesn't help that, like, pretty early on in this character, because I don't imagine anybody just immediately assaults Karlak. the like the whole like nobody will recognize him because of the horns and whatnot. Like that, I can, you know what, I can at least concede maybe that. But like, why did you do it so early then?
Hmm. Yeah,
Also,
like
I
if
will
you
say this will be
It-
objectively the probably the more controversial thing I could say on any of the party members in it. Um,
meet Karlak later.
no, not meet Karlak later. It's just in terms of how interesting a certain character is. I think Halsin is a lot less interesting than Will. I feel like people give
True.
Halsin way more credit than he deserves. He is just big elf druid dude. His story is done by Act 2. At that point, like, he literally is only there for Act 2. Like, you save him, his story arc starts and finishes in Act 2.
And even then, he doesn't really have a character arc. I mean, he does have a slight one in the 3, but it's not even an arc. It's just him going like, is this what society is? And he's just like off-put by it.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Halsin. He's a good boy, but like,
he is a good boy.
I hate how people will say he is more interesting than Will. I'm like, Will laid a frontiers, made a pact to destroy an entire Dragon Cult army in front of the walls of Baldur's Gate that nobody noticed. Which, you know what? Out of everything, that's the most unrealistic part of Will's fucking story, is that an entire Dragon Cult army just went completely missed by Duke Ravengard. I'm like, are you stupid? That was there a second ago, and now it's
Look, all
gone.
3 Baldur's Gate games happen within the same century. They're just like, oh, that was happening? Sorry, we're too busy with the other thing. I guess another ball
Sorry.
spawn. So there another
Sorry,
bond
Spawn was in the city. We
Yeah.
didn't realize the Dragon Cult was here.
Yeah.
Like, and then even then, it's just like he has so many adventures as the Blade of Frontiers. He has stories that he tells you about it. Like, and I can, like, people will say like, oh, it's because he's a warlock and whatnot. I'm like, you can do interesting things with warlocks in the game. I unironically think people are gonna probably call me woke libtard or whatever. I don't care. I fucking wear that with, well, not the libtard part. I'm not a libtard. I'm a leftist. Fucking check yourself. But, like, it's just racist. I'm sorry. Like, a lot, like, and I do think, like, some people's, like, it's not to say some people's passive uninterest in Will isn't because, like, it's not partially because he's a warlock, because out of all the classes, yes, warlock is kind of the most uninteresting in the game. But it's not like there's nothing to do with it.
Here's the thing. I'm actually gonna be a warlock defender here, even though I'm normally the #1 warlock offender. I will defend warlock in the sense that it's not any more boring than fighter.
True.
Because it's like, oh, you just spam Eldritch Blast all the time. Yeah, that's their attack button. Like,
you know what? I will say
that's their basic attack. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's yeah, and the fighter swings sword. Yeah, that's fine. Also, it just like sorcerer and a lot of other classes, warlock, by virtue of basically being tethered to an NPC, gives you a lot to work with in terms of storyline. Just inherently, it comes pre-baked with a lot of like loaded backstory shit, like
lore. We love lore. It's in
Yeah.
the name.
yeah, it's like it really is the reverse cleric in a lot of cases.
Also, my second most controversial statement: Will's more interesting than Asterion. That's just a fact. Like, Asterion, yes, the misunderstood.
I definitely
big
like Will more
quotes.
than Asterion. I haven't gone
Like,
through
big-
Asterion storyline in the proper way, because the Pedragon run split affinity and he decided to be pissy and a little bitch when I said, no, you can't slaughter hundreds of civilians to get a power up. No.
Like, look, I'm gonna be honest. Asterian's storyline basically just dumbs down to like, um, he was a magistrate, already a shitty person. Um, and then he became a vampire and was made a slave for his whole life. All right, tragic, I get it, but like, we've seen his story 1,000 times in other media. He is the twink, like the angry, edgy twink who thinks he's better than everybody, and he's literally just there for Tumblr bait. He is Tumblr bait. That's all he is, and he gets like all this traction. I don't understand. I like, look, I get it. Asterian's like he's attractive, I guess, like in the most minuscule way. Again, I'm more attracted to personalities than anything, and he's fucking the poor.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, I get that artificially he's like attractive.
If I
but,
wasn't
like,
if I wasn't playing lawful good characters, I would stake him. You know, like if I
shit,
wasn't
like in a lot of my runs where I'm playing a chaotic good, my first response is to stake him. Like I had Loron kill him, like fucking from this. Loron did the like darkest way of doing it, of like convincing Asterion like, oh yeah, no, it's fine, and letting Asterion bite him so that he could stab him easier. Like, don't get me, I'm not saying Asterian's like completely unredeemable. If you take a good path and you try to like make real effort to convince him, he becomes at least a semi-decent person and a
Oh.
literal good person by the end of it. But like, he makes zero effort to make you want to get him there. You kind of just have to force it, and that's kind of what I did in my main run, where I did all the good options that would push him towards wanting to do good things. And
Speaking-
like, it doesn't make me think he's redeemable.
Speaking of efforts to make someone be a better person, Kendrick Thorm. So in the actor run that I was doing,
Catholic Thorm, the fucking coolest entrance of any villain.
yeah, try again. And then, no, dude, he's cool as shit. That said, so we didn't do that in the Pedregon run. So on the Dirge run, we didn't get to do this. But with Acta, it's actually kind of funny that I was actually more thorough when investigating Moonrise, like breaking into his room and reading his like notes, like reading. Acta basically got the snoop in on like his letters to and from his like wife and daughter before he like went evil and shit. And you can bring it up when you confront him. It's so
that's
good.
great.
Yeah, it's just like, how would your wife feel about this? And he like actually is like, wait, but now I have one small issue. You can make a persuasion check with him. And if you like the only way to do this is if you do the proper investigation in Moonrise. You could bring up his wife, and then you're allowed to do a like persuasion check, like, hey, you know, it's still not too late for you. And he's just like, I don't know if I can be redeemed, and he basically kneels on the floor, ready to accept death, but they don't want you skipping that part of the fight because you need to do that part of the fight for Act 3 to happen. Because you need to go see the Elder Brain.
Yeah.
So he just sort of rubber bands really quick to like, oh, we're fighting now, like, and then when you have seen the Elder Brain and you do get down there and like confront him again, you can actually like, look, you showed mercy before, like, come on, you can still like, we can still make an effort. And I don't know how I feel. You do
It
get
would've
something
been-
out of it. You do get something out of it. You skip that first phase, and the Apostle of I think Merkel comes out. It skips straight to phase 2. But he essentially like
I'm
Sacri-
gonna kill him.
he basically sacrifices himself to like spawn in the phase 2, as if
Yeah.
you had beaten him, which is like, that's neat. But then when you're done with that, because you could take that as like a, oh, he thinks he's beyond like redeeming in this life, he's just gonna end it. Um, but when you defeat the Apostle Merkel, he spawns back in and acts like you were like aggressive with him. Like, it's such a weird rubber bandy thing. It's a little pet peeve where like he just sort of has to do attitude resets, and you need him to be that little like meaner so that like, shit, I forgot the angel's name, the angel lady's name, so that when she like curb stomps his
Aelin.
yeah, Aelin, when she just starts curb stomping him, when it's like, oh, he's defeated, and she just like starts curb stomping him to death, like, it doesn't make her seem like a fucking psychopath for doing
It
that.
would have been it would have been better if they had just had her attack from the get go, or even had it to where he is so set in his ways that like, because there are things that you can do, like let's say like you approach a character like a villain in a D&D campaign, and they're just like, and like the DM lets you roll up for like, or like you get to roll like an insight or whatnot, while another character rolls a persuasion. You get a good insight, and the character gets a good persuasion. But the one who got the insight saw that that character that you were trying to persuade already made his decision when you walked in the room, and the persuasion is really just a formality. Like, he's just letting you do it because, like, it's already too late. He's already set his mind.
The thing is too is they have him at they have Kethrick act like he's going to surrender and give up, but then mentally reset him to make the like next thing happen. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Cause
They could have done it a lot better, where like Dame Aelin like drop kicks him when he fucking kneels, and he goes like, "All right, fine, we're fighting God."
yeah, if
Right.
it's like Aelin's like, if like Aelin made the situation worse, because here's the thing: in the first phase of the fight, she comes in, is like, I'm gonna meet the blade. You could even like, you know, talk to her and go like, hey, easy, he surrendered, and then he unsurrenders. Like, what the fuck? You made the persuasion check. You went up. You like talked to him about his wife. You see him actively going through like a crisis of faith, as he's like, as he's like reconsidering his path, and then he just does a mental reset. It's so weird. I'm like,
Mr. Merkel, I don't feel too good. Dude, just kill him. Oh, right, I can do that.
I think it would have been better if they didn't even have him appear when the Apostle Merkel dies. Don't even have him reappear alive, just have him be dead at that point. Like, actually, no, he did actually just not want to continue on. Like, you don't even need to give him like his last words. His last words could have been like, yeah, you have defeated me, and he falls back and like sacks himself. Like, I don't know, there's so many ways you could do that. Or
Congrats, heroes.
but
You've killed the villain. Now deal with the bigger villain.
yeah, or maybe the fact that he like show that your words did have an impact on him, and when that happens, maybe like you don't need to. I know it's very cool to have our Arlen curb stomp him. It's very nice. It's very visceral, but and very cathartic if you were going down that route. But if you're playing someone like Acta, who's like will try to save everyone they can, even if they're a monster. It's like, even if they are a bad person, like, she will try to help everyone. Like, if you're going down the route and you actually get
Meanwhile,
that
if
far,
Lauren was there, he would have just fucking been like, no, we're shit stop. What? He's a horrible human being. Like,
I guess it's also the fact that it's like, as long as he lived, the shadow curse still, and they need to resolve that in a way that isn't like, oh, he is no longer an anti-paladin.
yeah,
By
like, no matter what, he was gonna die. But like, they could have done it a bit more gracefully.
yeah, you know, maybe he's just like, like there's no redemption for me, and he just like he has a graceful exit. Like that would have been cooler. That would have been a cooler approach. I do like that they at least give you something. It isn't a total like waste of your fucking effort, because you do just skip his first phase. Like you skip the first phase of that fight, because he acts as if you had beaten him. He's like, I've been defeated. It's like, not through violence, but with words, I have been defeated, and he just, like, throws himself into the funky, pit.
I'm going into the funky ooze. Speaking of going into the funky ooze, I should probably head out. I got work tomorrow, and,
I
I
should
get to
have
figure out
also...
if I get the entirety of next week off. So that'll be fun.
I also, probably should end the stream, because we've been going on for a little longer than anticipated, like a full extra hour. So, yeah.
Hey, chat, hope you enjoyed the extra hour, fuckers. Make it a standard.
Why?
More followers equals.
You know what?
If you follow, you get longer streams.
You know what?
That's the deal, chat.
Okay, you know what? That is the deal. Look, make it worth my time.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl
Yeah,
boss, let's
girl-
go.
You know what? Maybe we could do marathon streams more often. You know, if with the right incentive.
Follow.
The right incentive.
No, I'm gonna go to sleep, chat, and when I wake up, there better be at least 5 new followers. And I mean 5 with like 3 zeros behind it. Make
5. That will literally never happen. That said, anyways, for the people that did show up, thanks. Like, it does mean a lot. That said, hey YouTube, you can find me on Twitch. Hey Twitch, you can find me on YouTube. I make art on Blue Sky. I do commissions. And, you know, I will exist tomorrow for Tales of Arise. That or Atlas. I don't know. I didn't make a schedule this week. We're kind of free forming this. And hopefully I won't have a bad trip to the restroom like right before I need to go live.
Oh yeah. And I got my entire Christmas list done during this stream. Fuck yes.
Let's go.
Look, this has been a productive stream.
Very.
Goodbye, chat. I'm
See ya.
leaving. Goodbye, fellas.
See you around.